let's go ahead and take a look at the small hewing axe that I'm currently restoring for a guy in town. It's not very bad. I've been doing a lot of research on bevels for hewing hatchets and hewing axes. When I first got into axes, I thought all of them, or I was told that all of them were single bevel, completely flat. And that's just not the case. There are cases in the United States where you have a double bevel. Let me show you one that this is most likely modified by the end user. It has a double bevel, but there were hewing axes in the States that did come with a double bevel. It's a very slight double bevel. And in other countries, double beveled hewing axes are very, very common. For example, in Japan, most hewing axes in Japan are double beveled. There's only one island in Japan where they had a single bevel hewing axe. Let's take a look at another one that I have. It is a single bevel. This one is completely flat. Well, let's check that, because it's kind of misleading unless you put a straight edge on it. Let's see. Is that completely flat? It is really, really close to flat. So put these two aside, and let's take a better look at the one that I'm restoring for the guy in town. So this hewing axe, it should be a single bevel. I'm not sure. I'm trying to get this to focus. Try to get a focus on here. I can tell that it's not quite a single bevel. It has a very slight radius, concaveness to the bit. That might have been done by the end user. One other thing that's interesting is it's flat here. But on the bottom side, on the part that's supposed to be flat, it is not flat. Let's see if we can get a look at that. Sorry, everything's focusing on the background. So you notice there is light from one side to the other. It is not completely flat. It is slightly arched in the middle. I'm going to link a video to a gentleman on YouTube that I think has done the best explanation and video on edge geometry for hewing axes, and put it up here somewhere, and y'all go check that out if y'all are interested in hewing axes and edge geometry. Let me get back to this. The gentleman that I'm going to be doing this for he carves and whittles for his hobby, and he wanted a hewing axe. I asked him what type of wood he was going to be dealing with mostly, and he said a mix of soft and hardwoods. So from my research on just regular axes and hewing axes in general, a concaved edge is usually better for most hardwoods. And depending on what you're doing, if you're doing a lot of roughing out, a slight concave to the backside has also been shown to be extremely beneficial for when you go up and glance against the wood. That slight concaveness helps push it away from the edge. But I'm going to try to stay as true to the factory as I can. So I'm going to try to just flatten the back of it. I really wish we could see. And it does look dead flat here. What's up, cat? And there is just ever so, it's not a single bevel. From the factory it most likely was, but there's a very slight concaveness to this bit. Don't think I'm going to do a single bevel. I'm not going to do a concave either. I think that would be too difficult for the gentleman to reproduce. So I'm going to do a secondary bevel, not a micro bevel, but a secondary bevel to help with harder woods. And it'll still give him that chisel grind. So let's get started. And you can tell that it's all chewed up here, right? Well, that should correct itself as we're sharpening. I've seen a lot of people reprofile, and if your bit's really, really messed up, reprofiling it's not a bad deal. But this minor damage here should correct itself during the sharpening process. Again, for me, I'm trying to find my angle. What helps me is I touch my fingertip down to help keep that angle, and then just move across the bit. I'm just going to do this until, you know, I get the angle and the profile that I want. Here, I haven't really started digging in yet, so I'm going to tilt the file just ever so slightly so it digs in. And then once it starts digging in, I should be able to get good, nice cuts with the file. And it's very, very important that you resist the urge to work your way down to the actual cutting edge, the apex, because if you do that, you're cheating yourself and you're going to create a convex edge. Now, if you're wanting to create a convex edge, that's a completely different video, but there are videos on YouTube for that. But this is about a small hewing axe. That still just sounds so good. This file is not really wanting to cut very well, so I may change files. A lot of my files are getting old. Cutting really well here, but still skating across, and I can tell it's because it's not even. It's just kind of still right about here. It starts skating across, and it's probably because it's pitted and the bit's not very even. So I'm going to turn it on its edge again and try to get a scratch pattern started. Let me try a different file. I'm digging through my grandfather's files, and this is very interesting. It looks like this is double cut up until about here, and then after that I don't think it is. It may just be really, really worn down, but we'll find out. We y'all see what I'm doing. I'm going to work on this. You don't want to watch me file on this for an hour. So I'm going to work on this and get it closer to where it needs to be. And then I will come back and do the secondary bevel. And then we'll flatten the back of it. This is absolutely ridiculous. I think this steel is extremely hard. I've got 2 drawers full. I probably got 14 different files over there, and almost none of them want to actually cut into this steel. Some of them are new files. This is going to be very, very difficult. I may have to do it with stones. I don't have my belt sander anymore. I had to sell it and the bench grinder to make room in the trailer. But this is proving to be very difficult. I have never ever had a problem sharpening an axe before, and this is all the files are just skating right across. It is ridiculous. Turn it on its edge for a second and it'll bite on the edge, but when I go back to going flat, it just skates right across. No luck whatsoever. This is absolutely ridiculous. I'm going to try the sharpening stones. Well, I'm not going to lie. None of my files, none of the stones are making a dent in this. I've been at it for 45 minutes. My dad gave me a work sharp years ago. I tried to sharpen a couple of knives with it, and I never really liked it. But it is doing something to this. So I'm going to have to go to mechanical. I really didn't want to do that because I wanted to keep some form of a flat grind to it and do a secondary bevel. But because he's using this for hardwoods and softwoods, a slight concave, concave bevel is not going to be bad. I am running this upside down because this side has a little bit of a platen, whereas the side you're supposed to run it on is just a slack belt, and it would give it a very large concave edge, which I don't want to do. And honestly, because he's the one that purchased my belt grinder, this might be a perfect edge for that. This video has not turned out the way I wanted to. I have sharpened hundreds of axes, and this is the first time I've never been able to make a dent in steel with any of the files that I have. I am going to continue to check it for heat. Should not be a very big concern with the very coarsest belt, but still a good thing to check it. So unfortunately, this has turned into a work sharp tin onion commercial. You know what though? It's a very concaved edge, which if you're using it in hardwoods is not a bad thing. And hey, in a pinch, like y'all saw earlier, none of the files that I had they were making no headway. I spent 45 minutes with files and barely even scratched the surface. I've spent about 45 minutes with this tin onion, and I'm on the last polishing belt right now, just on the front edge. I haven't hit the back yet. There is a burr all the way across the back. But I got it sharp. So I'm glad I had this in my arsenal. What I will do is I'm going to go ahead and hang the axe, give it to him, let him use it. If he does not like the edge, like I said earlier, he bought my belt grinder so I can make room in my trailer, and I will show him how to use and put a proper single bevel edge on here. All right, I'm going to flip this over. I'm hoping I'm not going to have to use the kin onion on the back side of it, because I want to keep it as flat as possible. If it had a little bit of concave to it, like my research has shown, that's not a horrible thing. It's actually kind of advantageous just to have a very small concave backside edge on it. Yeah, it doesn't feel horrible, doesn't feel great either, but we'll test it out here in a minute, see how sharp it really is. It's sharp, I can feel it, but it's not to my liking. You know, y'all have seen my videos. My stuff is normally just razor sharp. So I'm going to try and put a micro bevel on the very back of it and see if that helps. Just grabbing and putting it as flat as possible. Just a very small micro bevel to also help protect that edge. Going back and forth. Another burr raised on this side, which is good. Grab one other stone. Arkansas black. And do the same thing. You could hear it taking off all kinds of little bitty imperfections. Oh yeah, it's definitely better. I can feel it. Really don't need to strap the other side because I hit it with that Arkansas, but work any little burr back and forth. Oh damn. Yeah. Just running those stones and putting a micro bevel on the very back side of it has made a world of difference. Just nearly cut myself on it. Well, let's see. Oh yeah, look at there. That's crazy what just a small little change will make in your edge. So the work sharp got me to a decent profile, and then stones got me razor sharp. Well, y'all, thanks for tuning in. This video did not go anything like I thought it was going to. I thought I was going to show how to file sharpen a hewing axe, but man, it is what it is. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. check you later. See you next time. Whatever.